have here? Several. Good.
Good. Well. Well, this is our first ever fiddle workshop for all three of us. I teach a bit in the public school system, but not much fiddle playing there.
This is actually my second one.
You lie.
All right, you're the leader, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh no,
Experience later.
I mean, we could start out. Does anybody have any questions that just want to get out of the way? No?
No.
No questions?
Just play some tunes. Show us that.
Non-classic and Celtic. I don't do bluegrass, so I just will do my best with these two fellas here.
So introduce yourself. Yeah, good.
I'm Grier.
What's your background?
A little bit of classical stuff when I was in school. And it's a good shortcut, I think, to know how to read notes. Not that I remember how. It's a good visual. And then I played in country bands most of my life. Bluegrass is kind of just a lot of fun for me. I go every Sunday night at the Diamond Bells. I appreciate you guys asking me to come. It's gonna be fun.
Glad you joined us. We need you.
Yeah, like you need help.
I'm Chris Carlson. Got classical training up through high school, put the instrument down for a year, and then started up with Irish music and Irish blues and catching on to the bluegrass scene slowly but slowly. And it's my story.
Okay, well, I don't have any classical background, so I'm a...
But he's a good person nonetheless.
I'm a scratcher, I grew up playing country and learned bluegrass probably after I'd been playing guitar for a little while. I started picking up mandolin and fiddle. And once I got into playing fiddle, and I started getting into bluegrass more. But what do we all know together? We did Arkansas Traveler last night. We could do that.
Sure.
Each take a lick and show our various styles.
You want to start?
Yeah. Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead and start. Real.
I got a question.
I didn't think so.
Time to maybe quiz the teachers. We listened to the different styles. How would you describe the difference in styles?
You start. You're the leader.
Oh, wow.
You start. You're the guitar player.
This is Jeff White, by the way, that's
Fiddle enthusiast.
you play some fiddle too. You can't, just can't get
I
into
play a
that.
little fiddle.
Fiddle with the fiddle.
Oh, I don't know. You know, I mean, it's there are as many different styles as there are fiddlers, really, and it all depends on your background, I guess. I grew up listening to people like Roy Acuff and Hank Sr. and Flatt and Scruggs, Bill Monroe. You know, so I mean, those fiddlers that worked with those bands are the ones that I really was influenced by early on. Other than the old man who got me started playing fiddle, his name was Vern Trueblood, and he was a real good old-time fiddler, but he also played a bunch of old ballroom dance stuff from the 20s and 30s on up, you know. And his big thing, he wasn't a fancy fiddler, but he was a real field player. His timing, that was something that he really emphasized to me, you know, about spacing in between notes and making sure that your notes are clean and all that. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from, but I don't know, that probably doesn't make any sense.
What age did you pick up the fiddle, Jeff?
I guess I was 14. Started playing guitar at 9. Mandolin about 13, you know.
I think it's real important if you've got kids who are a fiddle player, get them going on another instrument so they learn chords. Guitar or piano especially, I think that'll really help them later on in life. Because I know zippo about chords and I just do it all by ear.
We were talking about that a while ago. We both took violin, and if you take violin, they teach you notes, but they don't teach you chords.
Yep.
And if you play, like you say, if you play a mandolin, you know what the chords are like too, instead of just a bunch of notes that don't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's my big goal right now is to learn chords. So I know, because it'll really open up what I can do on the fiddle.
It's more of a visual, like the written music. If you know that and you play that note, you have a visual in your head kind of what that looks like, and without it,
you know it's coming up.
It's just a note out there in space.
Yeah. My training being classical, I grew up in northern Utah, which you could basically fit the culture in a petri dish. So I grew up in a musical vacuum, really, and so I just listen to things and take a little bit from here and there, and like on Arkansas Traveler, I've had these big internal dialogues going on. Well, should I sound totally traditional or do my own style? And I've decided, with Irish music especially, I'm just going to do my own style. And so, like on the B part, you've got the standard would be. I combine a little bit of Irish and a little bit of blues and bluegrass.
Change the whole timing and everything.
Yeah. So I just throw in whatever feels good to me.
I don't know. I just am kind of lost out there. Sometimes I wonder if I know what I'm doing, where I'm
You
going
saw him
next.
last night. The man knows what he's doing.
I get in a place where I get out there and then I take another chance and I go out a little farther out there. And like with Arkansas Traveler, I haven't played for, 20 years when I learned it out of a book a long time ago. But if you have the style down, whatever it is, every fiddle player in here is going to have their own style. No matter what you play, you're still going to have your own thing that you put in there, whatever it is. And I don't know how to tell you how to not be lost.
I mean, find someone you like, but don't try to copy them exactly, because music comes from your heart. You do what feels right to you. And that's why I have so many rotten vegetables thrown at me every day.
Red, you said something about chords, and it's interesting because you seem to be a person who plays totally by feel. Now, you're not thinking about chords when you're playing?
No, I'm not thinking about anything.
No.
Most of the time I'm not. If I'm playing with the band I've played with before and playing, I just go out there.
Yeah.
It's fun that way. I'm kind of selfish in that respect. You know, I'm just going to play my style, and because that's what I'm used to, so that's what I play. But listening to a lot of different styles, I think, and different kinds of music is very important. Mm-hmm. Listen to the rock and roll and the bluegrass and classical and everything.
Yeah, Mark O'Connor's got one of his albums is a real compilation of all sorts of different tunes, different musicians, different techniques, and he sounds like a different fiddler in each tune he plays. And do you happen to know that?
Heroes or
Yeah,
Heroes. That's a real good album. Yeah.
Even just the liner notes is worth buying it for.
Yeah, it's good. Jeff and I, at least, I didn't know you were coming until about 10 minutes ago, but we'd like this to be, we don't really want to play a whole lot. We'd actually like you to get out your instruments and just field questions mainly.
How do you pick a good fiddle?
Good fiddle.
Good violin.
You guys want to?
A lot of it depends on what you like. If you like a deep sound, then that's what you want to look for. If you like a brighter sound, then you have to look for it. But there's really no way to determine a good fiddle just by looking at it. You got to play the thing and see what you got. And even then, you're running the risk of, is it set up properly? Is the sound post in the right place? And all that. So it's I've seen fiddles with beautiful wood. They look like $1 million and they didn't sound good, and I've seen fiddles that just looked like a $25 fiddle that sounded like, heaven. So it's a lot of it's just personal preference. There are some things you can look for, like a grafted scroll. I don't know if you know what that is. Grafted peg box. Sometimes.
No, we don't. I don't.
Well, this one doesn't have. I don't have any of those. I think a lot. Maybe the Italian makers, a lot of them did them, but they would make the peg box and the scroll a separate piece from the neck, and then put it on later.
Good.
That's a good thing.
That supposedly is a good thing to look for if you can find one. They're normally pretty old and pretty good instruments, but I'm sure it doesn't apply in all cases.
What about bow pressure? Will you talk about that some?
I'd love to. That's, in fact, my main topic of the day. But as far as choosing out violins, I've been trying out violins here in this room, and people have been asking me, well, how do you tell a good violin? And a lot of violins, especially on the D string, it'll sound so sweet and beautiful, and you go to the A or the E, and it sounds like you're playing a totally different instrument.
Like a cat.
Barbed wire. Find an instrument, play all the strings, and it should sound like you're playing the same. You're playing one instrument rather than four. Each string should not have a separate character. And after this is over, I'm stranded here till 3 or 4, so I'll be happy to answer questions and go in and show you this kind of stuff about fiddles. But the strings should all sound like one instrument. And we got to just go in there and grab one of these fiddles to show you how it sounds.
I think it's personal preference. If you like it, if you like the way it sounds to you, then that's what you should be playing. Not to somebody else, but if you like the way it sounds and responds and whatever it is. I wore my last one out completely. Well, I couldn't play it anymore. There wasn't room for the strings on the fingerboard anymore. And I was looking for one. My dad found this at a pawn shop for $250. It's not old. It's a Stradivarius copy. And it just happens to sound good. And I liked the way it felt. The neck was a little bit wider than I was used to, so I took my pocket knife and used the sandpaper, and I took it down where it was just exactly the same as the last one I played. And
For a classical player,
I have no problem. But I think you gave $250 for it, and it's probably well worth it. I think, as little as I know about them, I would never know the thing about the scroll. What'd you call that?
The grafted peg
scroll.
box.
Peg box. That's news to me, but now I know.
Well, should we play another little tune and then answer more questions about both?
Accents.
Why don't you two do something that I don't know so I can feel foolish? The day's not complete. All boom chuck.
I just don't know like hardly any fiddle tunes.
Any requests?
No.
Can you play that Hawk Caught the Chicken that you were playing yesterday?
Hawk Caught the Chicken?
Yeah, maybe just you could play that with Jeff, and then they can do one that they know, you know? I don't know.
No, it's in G.
Chicken, real idea, no.
And it just hangs in G for forever with a quick D, you know. You know the scenario. Now, this is one that True Blood taught me. The guy that got me started on fiddle.
Thank you.
That ending thing, he used to do that all the time. Anyway.
I don't know what I would play. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask him if he's going to play next to
What, me?
play. Yeah, you play some of your explain some of your Irish fiddling techniques, your trills and stuff like that.
Sure. Irish music, I can recommend some good books out there. In fact, I think we all ought to get together and get some sheets of paper out there, because you come to these workshops and just a good resource list of good things that people have found is so important. Like I've been doing Irish music for 7 or 8 years till I found the book that actually showed me how to do the Irish bowing, because that's the secret to Irish bowing. Because you get those Irish fiddle books and it's just separate notes, there's no slurs, you have no idea how to do the bowing. So, or the timing, and
Or the accents too.
and the accents.
Or where the accents are.
Yeah, and there's a great book out there I can tell you about. Anyway, we'll go over that. But
What is it?
What is
What is
that?
the book? This book?
well, you have to stick around until later. Let's see. Okay, in Irish fiddle music, I'll just play it straight first, without ornamentations, and then you'll see how, hopefully, the ornamentations pick it up. Pretty boring, but so the ornamentation is, and they won't teach you that in the Irish fiddle books, except for this one that I know.
I have a question for you on the Irish music. With ornamentation, it seems like it changes the feel of the piece, but not totally. It's still the same piece.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you be able to throw in the ornamentation as you fiddle with variety, not always at the exact same place, and play in a group with some other melody players and you make sure that your ornamentation isn't going to clash with theirs. How do you integrate the ornamentation with the group?
Well, you always stick with the same beat. Da, 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 da. And any ornamentation you put in is generally going to work with the group. You've got triplets, which are and one thing about bows, if you're into Irish music, or I would say even fiddling, I really recommend black bow hair. It's slightly coarser than white bow hair, and I think it gives you a lot more grip, because when I play, I just feel like if I really want to get the sound out there, I'm just sawing away at the expense of the delicacy of the notes. And with black hair, especially in Irish music, those triplets, much easier to do. There's triplets and rolls.
What do you mean by black hair, since you all have white hair on?
Well, most of you have probably never seen black bow hair, but if you go to a violin shop, they have black bow hair, and I'd recommend it even for classical people. It's just you just don't have to bear down as much.
Do you have a
it's
bow
coarser.
hair?
I did. I had this rehaired, and I asked for black, but they didn't have it in stock.
It's kind of a bass player thing. I think the black hair, I mean, a lot of bass bows are black hair.
Yeah. But I think it works real well on the violin.
What about rosin then, to make up the difference?
Rosin. Choose the dark rosins. The lighter ones give if I'm right here, I think I am. The lighter ones don't give less grip, and the darker ones you can really, they're a lot stickier. It's like ski wax, you know, on cross country skis. Softer.
With the black hair, do you find you get the same response from like the slow airs and things, the same delicacy that you want?
Yeah, you just lighten up bow pressure, and your question about bow pressure I really want to get into later, but I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, you want me to talk? Like I said, I don't know lots of fiddle tunes per se, because I just never played those. There weren't any fiddle players around, so I learned everything from guitar players and steel players, pretty much, and listening to albums and whatever I had. Most important thing I ever found out about playing, if anything I know of, is like you were going to talk about bow tension. I change mine sometimes for one song or another a little bit, but even more important than that is to make sure that your bow goes straight across. Because if it doesn't go straight across, if you don't go in like this even at all, it's not going to be clear. You're not going to have control of your bow. It's going to be flying all over the place. It's probably going to go clear up in the ceiling. And if you can keep it straight, I don't know how to explain. I've worked in the oil field all my life. And when I was a kid, I was sitting there watching one of those pump jacks go up and down, and everything gives some for everything that's taken. Or the thing would wear out in one day and fall over on the ground. So if you, I don't know how to explain it, the best way I ever found to keep it straight was a motion kind of like this, where you're always giving and you're always taking away, and you kind of pull. It's not that exaggerated, but you pull like towards your knee and from the back of your shoulder, maybe your ear, and you kind of pull straight. And then it keeps it straight, because if you're not going straight, it's just everywhere.
Yeah, I tell my students that they just got cast up here, and you're really, most of the time until you get to the tip of your bow, your upper arm is not moving much.
What I've done for my students to help them is have them play against the wall. It sounds really weird, but they're at about a 45-degree angle, and only in the upper half. It doesn't work for the lower half. But just to get them, beginning students, to know what this feels like, to keep this not moving. And you don't want them doing it all the time, but just a few bow strokes from the upper half, then it's staying stable. And if they're at the right angle, it works.
Yeah.
You know, and it just gives them, helps them. It's kind of a crutch and gives them the muscle memory until they know what that feels like. But it doesn't work from the lower half of the bow, because of course you want that. But I found that really helpful for straight bow stuff.
Yeah. If y'all want to get out your instruments and demonstrate a particular problem you're having, please.
Can we hear Red play something? Yeah.
I had a question for Red. I was teasing you last night about sounding like a gypsy, and I was just wondering, have you ever listened to some of the old gypsy? I mean, you have a real style.
I've
It's
listened
very
to
reminiscent.
Stefan Grappelli.
It's
how many
very
thousands of hours.
fluid and
you like that kind of music, that's the guy to listen to. He died a few years ago, I guess, but he was definitely the gypsy player. I mean, probably he and Django Reinhardt probably created jazz pretty much. So if you want to learn gypsy music,
Now,
that's
is
the
that,
place to go.
is that bowing technique or is that all feel? What do you think of that?
I think most of it's feel. I don't know. With me, I just play, like I said, whatever I think I should play. And so these guys would throw me out in dark league.
I was playing with a Russian, Igor and the Russian Rednecks up in Telluride. It was Russian street music and gypsy music, and what I found, it was classical music on speed. He was trying to play classical music, but improvisation at the same time, and it's just incredibly difficult.
That's kind of what the old jazz is like. It's kind of that same type of deal. Classical music with a twist.
Brad, could you play some of that sort of stuff and style stuff?
That we could back up.
What's that? If I know the name of it.
Swim my way.
Walk my way.
What's the name of
Thousand
that?
violins.
We don't care what the name of it.
Thousand violins begin to play.
Yeah.
If I know the name of it, you probably
They'll
figure it out.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. What about minor swing?
Stand up.
Let me see, I'm in the wrong key.
It's misty. Yeah, it is misty. Mhm.
So if you could just explain how you did it.
I don't know, I guess play lots of scales.
Did you
Anytime-
learn that off by ear? That was all ear?
Yeah, I learned it by ear.
I got a question for you. You work in the oil field, so that's rough physical work.
Yes.
How do you keep your hands and your just
I'm quick. No, it's not. Actually, I think it helps to do physical. Your hands get strong. I mean, my fourth
Maybe
finger
you're
is
just a lot
strong as
younger than I am.
an
That's
ox. Probably.
Yeah, I work with my
maybe
hands, and I
4 or 5
find I
years.
battle that. You know, when I lay off, it's stiff for a
It
while.
does get stiff.
It's yeah.
Yeah, it gets stiff. But soak your hands in hot salt water.
There you go.
Hot salt water, and it'll go away. If your hands are stiff, your fingers are stiff, that'll stop immediately.
Or,
That helps.
you know, if you pay too much, if you've got like building tendonitis or something, you might not want to, it's like back problems. If you pay too much attention to it, it's going to get worse. Do what works best for you, just ignore it if you need to. Soak it in hot water or cold water. One thing I do, like I do seasonal archaeology a lot, and you know, you're there with the trowel all day long, and you just remember to stop, you know, and stop, and the best stretching exercise I know is just going like that.
Yeah.
Stretch everything out. And when you're at work, if you've got a real hard physical job, just be aware. Because I'm one of those people, I tend to bear down whatever I'm doing. I do overkill, just, the trowel or what have you. And just start to be aware of that. Because later in life, you're gonna want those fingers to work. Fortunately, on the fiddle, how many are there any southpaws out there? Only one. Well, the rest of us are right hands. Those are the hands that are getting ruined. Your left hand is pretty much going to be stellar. So don't worry about that.
Can you talk about like bowing accents and like you were talking about intervals, timing intervals, like especially for Celtic music, like where do you hit it, like for when it's in 4, when it's in 3, that kind of thing, like triplets or quadruplets.
Okay, and I wish I had a slide projector with some music up here. Let's take the Chicago Reel, for example. Long note. Anytime you've got a long note in Irish music, or a quarter note, and you've got a bunch of eighths and then a quarter note, usually at the beginning or the end of the measure, that's where you're going to put in your ornamentation.
I don't know how you switch from one to the other.
Instead of... And on these rolls, the roll is real cool about Irish music. These rolls, you can do exercises, you can do scales, like an A scale. And the finger you're putting down, you're not committing like in most music. It's percussive. It's like that's about all the pressure I'm putting down. And I lift up my finger to bring it down quick. It's just the quickest movement you want to make.
Between a harmonic and hitting it, pushing it down.
Yeah, right between that. It's just a break in note instead of going. You're going.
Are those thirds? Are those thirds?
That one is.
Yes.
And
Are
it's
they
coming,
always, or
it's
is it
coming at
cheap?
the end of it, isn't it? It's
That's
not
a
at
good
the
question,
beginning
too.
of the note.
Yeah, right at the very end.
Yeah.
Is it usually a third, the interval?
Does
it just depend on...
There's two ways of doing Irish ornamentations. There's grace notes like... maybe that's not a good song, but I like a lot of Scottish influence. Went to school in Northern Ireland, and I'm really influenced by the Scottish style of Irish playing, where it's very, very chunky, just like... And I've lost my train of thought here.
Grace notes and...
Grace notes, yeah. You're just going from F to G natural. I like to go up to an A. It's more, can you hear the percussiveness more? So, but in that book I'll tell you about. These are real technical questions here I'm trying to answer.
It probably covers bow tension too.
I got a question for Mr. Guernsey here. Listening to your work with Jeff White, you do a lot of parallel fifths in your playing, and I think that's real exciting. Can you demonstrate that?
Parallel fifths?
Where you're using the same, you know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah, I mean...
Isn't that the term for it?
Normally, when you're too lazy to play another harmony note... And I mean, you could basically take Old MacDonald and learn how to do that. You know, so it's just a kind of a thing. You just want a little different sound, something to kind of beef it up, and you don't really want to fool with playing, you know, 2 fingers.
So
you're hitting two strings with the same finger.
Right.
With the same.
Can you explain that actually a little bit more? Because I'm not. I didn't.
Elaborate.
I don't know what a parallel fifth is. I don't know what.
Well, parallel. I mean, your fiddle is tuned in fifths.
Yeah.
It's the Superman theme. Dun da da dun da 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 dun 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 dun. It's like, yeah, tuned in fifths. That's a good way to remember it.
I mean, if you were to take just a simple, old McDonald, and rather than play single notes, play two strings, bow two strings, and you want to go to the next smallest string from the melody note, okay? Sounds a little Chinese.
I see. So you're not fingering on that second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same
finger.
finger.
It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Same finger.
Same finger,
just
same
catch
position.
two strings,
I
which is
play
still
two
one.
That's right.
And the lower, is the lower pitch note then the one that closely follows the melody?
Yeah.
Do you find it's hard to do on some fiddles that, the strings are too far apart or whatever, too high? Or
If the strings are really far apart, it's kind of rough.
yeah.
Which I like a little bit wider spacing, but there you get into personal preference again. But and the size of your fingers. I mean, like you got big hands, and so you may. I don't know if you like a wider.
Wide is pretty, a little wider maybe.
I like 5-string fiddles. Love them because you get that extra. You can become both a viola and a violin. I mean, you can really just schmaltz it out on that lower C string. And I've got small enough hands that this feels a little too wide at times. So,
Do they fit the 5th string in the same space they put the 4th string?
almost, yeah. They're a little.
It's a little too close together for me. I think I'd have to have it on a viola if I was going to have a 5th string, and then it would carry the sound better too, I would think. If you had big hands, you'd about have to do that, because I played 5 strings and you just cramp. They're just not ready.
Red, are you playing with dance bands now?
I play with George Usenowicz at the Diamond Bell every Sunday. That's about it.
I've got stories on like that. 1,000 gigs with it, you wouldn't believe it.
Oh, I'm
He doesn't know
trained.
we'll come out of studio, we'll listen to a tape, he'll hear 2 fiddles and go, who's playing the second fiddle? I swear. And he'll go, who's playing that part? He doesn't know his ability, he doesn't know his playing, he plays from the heart, he can wrench oil rods when you guys are saying you should oil your fingers and your thumbs. He's out with 60 weight. This guy is unbelievable. But he plays from the heart. And all the technical training in the world doesn't pale in comparison to when I stand over 1,000 gigs with that guy, and I'm gonna play some Japanese bluegrass, right? I mean, just for
I mess around constantly with this thing. I just love it. It's so much fun. I started when I was 10, so I've had lots and lots of time to just, I don't know, walk around down in the canyon where I live and just play, and not have any guitar or anybody else there. I think that's important too. You need a band and you need to play with people, but you got to play your fiddle or your guitar, or whatever it is, and you got to go out there and play it. Not to play even any song. Just play it. It doesn't matter. Make mistakes all day, one day, on purpose. Try to figure out how to get out of it.
That's pretty funny.
Real jazz.
I use the different approach.
How are we doing on time, by the way?
It's 10 so. When he was 11 years old, his Uncle Dwight comes pulling up down the gravel road. Red used to run around his, sorry to do this to you, Red.
You don't have to.
His underwear, no feet. Or
No shoes. I didn't have my feet on.
Gravel roads out in Red Mesa. And Uncle Dwight was pulling up, and there's Red. He would run outside and go, Uncle Dwight, listen to this. And there was snow on the ground, okay, gravel road, but Uncle Dwight, listen to this. First fiddle he ever got, how many bales of hay did you buck to get your first fiddle?
3 cents a piece. It costs $365.
About 3,000 bales a hay.
Lots of hay.
This guy's a national treasure.
He's got hair.
Come on. Thanks, though.
You're making
I'd like to get to your question about bowing. I think I was watching Jeff and I didn't see your bow. Can I just watch your bow hand real quick? You notice all of our wrists real loose. And I think the most important thing in violin playing, fiddle playing, whatever, you know, your left hand basically can move a lot faster than your right. And I see a lot of fiddle players playing, they're distancing themselves from their bow. And basically all that lets you do is you're just playing notes. It's real hard to get accents if you're doing like, let's see. You're so far away from your bow there, you've got no control. I say just get a real good claw on that bow. Absolutely. Get this knuckle, the one that you used to go like that, people in the shoulder, put that right on top of the wood. Make sure your thumb is bent, so it's right on the bow here. The closer you are to the bow, the better control you're going to have, and the more you can accent. It's real hard. I mean, you just can't accent from here. You got to be right on that bow. And that wrist, loosening up that wrist is real important too. There's a lot of players, you know, it's like, and
You got to move your fiddle to compensate for where your
yeah.
bow's not at.
And with bowing, like Devil's Dream, if you're playing Devil's Dream at the tip, you're doing this. Find mainly the middle of the bow. If you're moving around, there's hardly any movement. It's what you want to strive for in fiddle playing. What have it is maximum efficiency for the least amount of effort. So choke up on your bow hand, and also loosen up your wrist. And there's an exercise you can do. Does anyone have $100?
Come on, George.
You know, you just play with those boring old scales, but you know, scales, we all hate to do them, but they really do help. And in the long run, you put a penny right here, right between the first and second knuckle. I'm going to show you how not to do it first. Quarter actually works better.
Put some bubble gum. Yeah, put some gum on it.
Especially the frog. Loosen that wrist up is the biggest thing. At this workshop today, I'd say the biggest thing I'm seeing out there, loosen that wrist up. And also there's an exercise where you can go, it's like you're knocking on a door like that. You go, just knock straight up and down on that bow.
Jeff, get your
But
penny out
just,
too.
just loosen yourself.
Try that.
Sorry, I did.
There is something though that I was wanting to pick up, and I noticed you hold your bow by the frog. I do too. You hold yours by the stick.
Come again?
Yeah, that's right.
That's my grip.
Oh.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was-
I don't really know how that affects your wrist. You know.
His wrist seems looser than either one of ours. I don't know how much.
That's a classical thing. The classical thing's under the stick.
Under the wood.
Under the stick.
And I
Yeah,
did
you
this.
never play in a classical situation. So anybody's got a classical background, their thumb's going to be right under that stick.
Right.
When I was going to school, when I was in high school, we always did some kind of workshop somewhere. And it was Western slope, this or that. And we had a really good violin player that came and showed us some stuff. He was a Denver Symphony person. I don't know his name. He was very good. And he just put the ball on the floor and he said, pick it up, however you pick it up, that's how you should play it. However you naturally pick it up, if you pick it up 10 times, you pick it up like that. And I had played that this way until then. And I picked it up and it just seemed better. So from then I've played that way. But it's like you say, you just kind of lob onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a real big difference.
Really? I mean, I don't know. You know, I've seen.
I have to kind of agree that that's
Some
another personal
Irish,
preference.
some Irish players are way up on the stick.
I've seen
They
some
play
good fiddle
there.
players play
Yeah,
out,
they were-
hold it up here and play
The
down here
balance
with
is
it.
easy.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, what is that
Yeah,
just?
that's a trick.
Personal style
You know,
works.
I just have a request for you. No disrespect to you, but the reason I love that Jeff White album, The Broken Road, besides your wonderful music, is that fiddle playing. I just listen to that over and over and over again, listening to your fiddle playing. So I just have a personal request because I saw you both sets yesterday, 2 sets, and it seems to be sitting in the case a lot more than that mandolin. So, when I heard that Jeff White was coming, I was just so excited to hear you play.
So you're gonna sit in and play mandolin with us so I can play
No.
fiddle?
But I was the one, when you made any requests, I was the one that yelled, the fiddle.
Oh, okay.
So, if you,
Make
or
sure
even
you
just play
feature his
something
fiddle
now,
player.
because I just love your playing. It's just wonderful.
Gosh.
I've tried to dissect it and figure out.
Sally good?
Oh, we heard that yesterday, something new.
Something different?
Demanding.
I am.
Boy. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do something even different. I'm gonna do another tune that True Blood taught me, and I'm not sure where he got this, or if if it's a really old tune or what. Probably is in D. D. Okay. Like that. Okay, the B section is just D to A. Like that. Okay. White River Bottoms.
I could have done that.
It's way easier than anything you guys were doing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the different styles.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, though, with the style.
The styles.
He says that's so easy.
Yeah.
For me to play that exactly that same way wouldn't be so easy. I'd have to go home and work my butt off for a week, or 2, or 3, or maybe never even get it. To be in the style that you're playing. I might never succeed. Mark O'Connor might be able to do both.
But he's not like us.
He's an alien.
He's not mortal.
It's got a request. If you got the time for it, I wonder if you could take a song or a tune, that originally was an Irish or Scottish one, and play it that style, and then if it's pick one that got into the American tradition, and play it either old timey or bluegrass style.
Yeah. Give me the name. St. Anne's Reel. Yeah, now that, I'm not sure about the history of that, but I definitely know the Irish version of it. So that's good. I learned it first as old timey and then threw in the Irish. So we could
You could do fiddle and you could do blues.
If I can figure it out. I can try
Oh, well,
it.
you do third.
It's pretty easy too.
It's got to be pretty easy.
Do you know this one?
Sort of.
Help us out.
You want me to start it, or just all gonna go together?
Yeah, let's go together.
We're out of here? We're out of here. 5 minutes after it's over.
Yeah, if you got any questions, especially on
The name of that book.
Yeah, just, I'll be over there.